I have a pleasant duty to welcome all of you this evening, and I have great pleasure in requesting my dear brother. I consider him more than a brother, in fact. He is the Principal Secretary for Industry, Commerce and Information Technology for Government of Telangana, who has been with me right through, right through from the time I was in the UK, all the way coming back to India, and all along for the past 13 years. So, Jayesh, please start the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Raghuram. Greetings to Dr. Raghuram, Dr. Vajanti, Dr. Usha Lakshmi, Krishna, Sai, all other family members of Dr. Raghuram, professional colleagues of Dr. Raghuram, Dr. Vajanti, all the contemporaries of Dr. Chalpati Rao Garu, other well-wishers, friends who have joined this meeting to pay our heartfelt tributes to Dr. Chalpati Rao Garu. A very warm greetings to all of you. I'm Jayesh Ranjan. I am a close friend of Dr. Raghuram, and I feel honored that I have been called upon to lead all of us in paying tributes to Dr. Chalpati Rao. As all of you surely know, Dr. Chalpati Rao Garu has led an exemplary life. In his profession, he was really at the very top. In those days, for someone to receive Dr. B.C. Roy Memorial Award is a stupendous feat, and the fact that he received many other honors also. But most importantly, not just his professional accomplishments, his professional conduct, the way he carried himself as a human being, as a person, is something which remains much more strongly etched in my hearts. I did receive in very early days some professional services also. In fact, when I became introduced to Dr. Raghuram almost 15 years ago, and through him to Dr. Chalpati Rao Garu, I got to know that he was still involved in KIMS. He was not only looking at CME programs in KIMS, but he was also doing a little bit of consultancy. And I remember for some minor problems, I used to seek his advice, etc. And the kind of guidance and the sense of confidence that he would give in everyone, that whatever is the problem is a very minor thing and one need not worry about it. This is something which I really believe is the hallmark of a doctor-patient relationship. You have to give a sense of well-being and confidence so that the patient's own positivity contributes to his treatment and his recovery. But more than this doctor-patient relationship, those instances, of course, were very few and far between. I started recognizing him as a very, very respected elder who has seen the world, who has seen life, who has seen different shades of life, and someone who can be a very good counsel on various other matters. Whenever I would go to Dr. Raghuram's house, I would sit with him. He would make lots of inquiries. He was extremely well-read. In fact, extremely familiar with contemporary issues, and he would seek my opinion. He would voice his opinions. On some occasions, the opinions will differ also. I mean, obviously, which is perfectly all right. But the fact that he was able to assimilate different kinds of opinions also was something very magnanimous about him. Some of you may or may not know, but some years ago, he expressed a desire that whatever earnings, whatever savings that he has received, he would like to participate in a very important program initiated by the government, which is to adopt a village. Some of you may know this, that our chief minister, our ministers have encouraged people here to adopt villages, to contribute urban amenities in rural areas. And when Raghuram told me that father wants to take that decision, he actually told me that father wants to see you and meet you and consult you on how do you design a good program, how does that contribution create a strong impact. And then I remember I had multiple sittings, 4 5 times. I met him, we sat, and I gave him lots of ideas on what are the key things which are lacking in our villages today, and what is it that his contribution can mean. And finally we chose a village in Siddipet district, and today that village has become a role model village. In fact, every kind of necessity which one can imagine, which a rural area must have: good schools, a nice crematorium, library, greenery, good roads, street light. If you go to that village, you will see everything. And I'm sure he felt very happy and very satisfied at what he contributed and the impact it left on people. Not only me personally, he was very warm and affectionate towards my family, my wife, my daughter. On many occasions, my daughter and Dr. Raghuram and Dr. Vajanti's son, they are more or less of same age. They go to similar classes. And whenever my daughter would come to Dr. Raghuram's home, I remember that they would sit with Dr. Chalpati Rao, because the grown-ups will have their own circles and we would talk of all kinds of other things. But the children and Usha Lakshmi Garu and Chalpati Rao Garu, they would kind of form their own small huddle, and they will talk of all kinds of amusing things. So a person who, as I said, really lived his life in a very, very meaningful way. His professional accomplishments, I'm sure there are many doctors in the meeting today, and they will appreciate his accomplishments better. For me, without knowing too much about his accomplishments, the fact that he was a BC Roy awardee gives me, that impression that he has reached the pinnacle of the professional career. But as I said, I knew more of him as a human being, a nice person, a very considerate person who was conscious about what his words, what his actions, what his thoughts mean to everyone, and something which we will all cherish. So, of course, he's physically no more with us, but the kind of value systems that he has left with Dr. Raghuram, Dr. Vajanti, and I'm very happy that their elder son Sai is now on the way of becoming a doctor. So the family tradition gets passed on to the third generation also. And I feel very happy that all of us have joined today to pay our warm tributes to him. So I would like to conclude here, and I would like to also offer deep condolences to the entire family and his large circle of friends and well-wishers. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Jayesh. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree long time ago. And that someone are my parents, because of whom I am in front of you today. I owe my everything to them. Without them, I'm a nobody. So I'd just like to present a very short and a very brief, it took me a lot of time to make it very brief, in about 3 minutes, a tribute from a proud son of a great father. Okay. I now like to request Dr. Bhaskar Rao Garu, who is the Managing Director of KIMS Hospitals, to please share his thoughts. Dr. Bhaskar, I request everyone to please mute. Bhaskar Rao Garu, are you there?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah, yes. My heartfelt condolences to Dr. P. Chalpatirao and his family. I know Dr. Professor P. Chalpatirao from 1990 onwards, since I returned from Australia as a cardiothoracic surgeon. He's the first man who requested, he was the chairman of Andhra Mahila Sabha Trust at that time. He wants to develop a very good heart program in the trust hospital. So I went and started doing that. Then later on, I started my KIMS hospital in 2003. Then he joined me. We continued taken care of Director of Medical Education. He is the director, and he built the whole program of National Board of Examination nearly today, 85.
I think, Bhaskar Rao Garu, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Okay. We can't hear you. So I'm just.
Am I audible now?
Now you're audible. Yes.
Okay. I know Dr. Chalpatirao last 2 decades, since 1990, and he worked relentlessly to the cause for the medical profession and the education of the medical students from Andhra Mahila Sabha onwards. And he was there in 2 decades in Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences as a director of medical education. Both the places he have not taken a single pie. And he worked for 20 years to serve the students of Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, the National Board of Examination. And even later on, a decade back, his son and daughter-in-law, Dr. Raghuram and Vaijayanti, joined. They are also very, very careful about the quality of the treatment that they will give to the patients. That's all brought up by the parents, Dr. Chalpatirao and Mrs. Chalpatirao. And Raghuram's Chalpatirao's grandson also, he was supposed to get a medical seat in India. For one reason, he could not able to get it, and he studied 1 more year and went back to UK. Right now, he's doing his medicine. So that tremendously in the family, P.V. Chalpatirao has planted the quality of education, the service to the nation and service to the patients. And you cannot able to, I don't think we can able to get from anyone else. So my my heartfelt condolences to him, to the family. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaskar Rao Garu, for standing rock solid, not only behind him, but behind the entire family. And you have been a God-sent messenger for us. And you and the Institute have provided the much needed care that father needed, Nanna needed, when he needed it the most. And with folded hands, I can never ever forget what KIMS has done for Nanna in the last few days. Thank you very much. I now like to request Dr. Lata Deshmukh Madam, who has known father for several decades, for over 5 decades, as a colleague, as a dear friend of our family. Madam, a few words from you, madam.
Thank you very much, Raghu. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Am I audible?
Yes, madam. You are audible.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to offer my condolences to all of you in the family. Actually, the minute I heard that Dr. Chalpati Rao was no more, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist my cry. And I sat down for at least an hour and read Gita because that is the one which soothes my nerves. So I read it, and it says, Vasause jirnani yatha vihayo, navani grunhati naroparani, tatha sharirana vihaya jirnani, navani dehi. That is which actually soothes me. It is said that when you leave this life and go, you are going to come back with better and better things to do in this world. So I'm very sure that Dr. Shalpati Rao will come back very soon in a different garb and will whatever wishes he had to do, they will be fulfilled by his coming back here. Dr. Chalpati Rao's things have been said amply by everybody, so I don't have to add much of it. But I must say, as a surgeon, when a surgeon appreciates another surgeon, that is something which is very rare. So I deeply appreciated Chalpati Rao's surgery, the way he did it, the way he talked to the patients, and he remembered each patient's name and he called the patient by his name. So that was something which I learned from Dr. Rao. We always called by bed numbers, but he always insisted that the patient should be called by his name. So it's a very important message which he gave to us. He was, of course, a philanthropist because lot of money which he earned, he spent for the development of a village, which was mentioned earlier by doctor who talked about him. I thought that when he spends money, he will create a hospital there. But he decided that to be a doctor, you need education first. So he started a school because he knew that in the school, when you get educated, then certainly you will become a better person and the nation will benefit. To benefit the nation, the school children are to be given a proper opportunity. The world knew him as a surgeon par excellence, a philanthropist who adopted the village, educated the children, and I had the privilege of knowing him as a wonderful human being. Courage, conviction, cooperation were the three qualities which Dr. Rao had, apart from devotion and dedication. Devotion to his profession, dedication to the patients, dedication to the family. And why did he achieve all that? Because he had Usha with him. And Usha practically was, they were two of them worked together to give lot of love to the family. And Raghu, you received lot of love, affection from your daddy, and also a guidance from your daddy. Well, his award of BC Roy was mentioned by the doctors, but I appreciated that Dr. Chalpati Rao was elected as a president of the Association of Surgeons of India in 2004. In 2009, Dr. Rao achieved a unique distinction to become the first and only surgeon from Telugu states to have been conferred the fellowship ad homium, the highest recognition bestowed by the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. for his outstanding in India, 5 decades. Quite a life well lived. And the film which you had prepared, I really felt that I'm reliving the past. Your whole family is seen there, and I really miss him, continue to miss him. But I am sure that he will guide us, guide you and the whole family, and also us from the top that he has now achieved. Raghu, thank you very much for making me one of the family members. And whenever I came to Hyderabad, there was never a visit that I didn't stay with your family. And the cup of tea that he himself prepared in the morning was a pleasure. And the whole day was a very good day after having that cup of tea. Very nice of you to remember all of us and to bring us together to remember what Chalpati had done for her. And Usha, I really appreciate your courage that you have faced all the difficulties and all the calamities that have fallen on you. And Raghu, I wish you all the very best. Be like your daddy. You call him Nana. Be like Nana, and you will achieve excellence. You will achieve much more than what daddy achieved. Because it is said in Sanskrit, Shishya Dichet Parajayam. So you will be better than your daddy, and your son will be better than you. So that these are the blessings from Lata Deshmukh, which you mentioned just now. Felt very happy when you said Lata Deshmukh is here. Everybody calls me Snehalata, but Chalpati Rao and my chief, Dr. Gandhi, always called me Lata. So I was very happy when I heard that name from you. Raghu, all the very best, and Usha, with all the best wishes to all of you. I have not met Anjali, but I feel sometimes I'll meet her. And your son is in London. I would love to at least talk to him someday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very
And
much.
may the soul rest in peace.
Thank you, madam. As you mentioned, the Association of Surgeons of India, as the incoming president, nothing gives me more pleasure than to invite Dr. Abhay Dalvi to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Raghu. I've met Dr. Chalapati Rao only once in my life. And I'll share this with you. I was at the last moment appointed as DNB examiner to take these exams in Hyderabad. When I reached Hyderabad and reached the campus, the pune out there made me sit in the hall which was meant for students, because he felt that I was one of the people who was giving DNB examination rather being an examiner. Actually, when the exam started, I did not agree with one of the senior examiners who had come from the north. And it was your father, who was the chief examiner at that time, came to me and told me that I will treat you as if I am your internal examiner and protect you. Go ahead and do what you want. That's how I remember Dr. Chalapati Rao. His demise has been a great loss to you, Raghu, as I understand over the last 10 to 12 days. But it is not only you, but the Indian Association of Surgical Gastroenterology, whom he actually founded, and also lost the Association of Surgeons of India. On behalf of the association, I just feel that his soul will rest in peace. And Raghu, please go ahead and make this association even larger than before. You've already done it, but please go ahead with ASICON as the last thing that you are going to do, and you're going to be with us forever. Thank you so much.
Thanks a million, Abhay. And we look forward to your leadership in 2021. I'd now like to play a video, a very brief message from a very, very dear friend, a family friend who actually is part of our family, Sri Padmanabhaya Garu, who is currently the chairman of the Administrative Staff College of India and the former Union Home Secretary.
नमस्कार.
Good evening, friends. I wish to share some memories of late Dr. P.V. Chalpatrao Garu. I and my wife met Dr. Chalpatrao Garu and his charming lady wife, Sri Usha Lakshmi, sometime 10 years ago. We were so impressed by his simple living and high thinking. In spite of all his achievements in surgery, he was a self-effacing man and extremely soft-spoken. We became good family friends. As we became closer, I realized that he is a kind-hearted and noble soul who believed in certain values of life, like honesty and integrity. But the most important thing is he believed in selfless service, public service. Though he worked for about 15 years as a professor of surgery in the combined Andhra Pradesh, much more than that, almost 24 years he spent in free service to the public. He became the director of, the chairman of the Deshmukh, Durgabai Deshmukh Hospital for 11 years, till the age of about 74. And the age of 76, he joined as director of medical education, KIMS, and continued there till he attained the age of about 89. That is about 13 years. In both the jobs, he didn't draw a penny of salary, not even a driver for his car, and he used to drive himself there. When most people feel tired and exhausted by about 70, he continued his free services till he was almost 90. During the last 2 years, he turned to the community development, and whatever little savings he had, over 1 crore, more than that, I think he spent in his adopted village, Ibrahimpur, which is close to Hyderabad, where he built a school, a hostel for the students, a community hall, and a Vaikunthadam even, and roads and greenery. I would sum up that he is a Sthita Prajna, an evolved soul. Though we physically miss him, but his spirit would live with us forever. Thank you.
Thank you. And I now like to request another very, very dear friend, once again, a dear friend, Dr. Prasad Rao Garu from the UK. His family, once again, his family to me, a very, very successful general practitioner in the UK who served as the president of the European Telugu Association and as the visionary chair of the British International Doctors Association. Dr. Prasad Garu. Are you there, Prasad Garu?
Technical problems. I am here,
Yeah.
Raghu.
Yes, Prasad Garu, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening. As Raghu said, I'm Prasad, or Dr. Prasad from United Kingdom. What can I say about Dr. Garu? I've known him, unfortunately, fortunately, through the son. Normally, through the parents, the children, but in this case, I came to know the great Dr. Garu through Raghu, because Raghu came to England. It's a good fortune. He came with his wife and he achieved a great deal here. gone back, but during that process, I met Dr. Garu. I met him a number of times. I don't want to say the things you already said. He's kind, caring. He's not after money. He's always after public service. He's gentle. He's very unassuming, everything else. He's such a great person. But I have one anecdote to share. I was the chairman of British International Doctors Association, or Overseas Doctors Association. We wanted to have an international scientific congress in Hyderabad. Again, that's because Raghu Pilar Sethi, Raghuram has insisted that we should take this international conference to Hyderabad. That was at that time is a combined Andhra Pradesh state. And the chief minister was Dr. Y. Rajshekar Reddy Garu. Who do I go to seek the help of to have a meeting? Is Raghu's daddy, Nanna Garu, Dr. Chalpatrao Garu. He is very highly connected, but he never showed that off. He has had connections at very highest levels. And honestly, it was no problem, none whatsoever at all for him to facilitate my meeting as the chairman of the British International Doctors Association to meet the then Dr. Y. Rajshekar Reddy. Because of Dr. Chalpatrao Garu's influence and the kind words he said about our association, Dr. Reddy Garu gladly accepted to come and inaugurate the meeting. The reason I'm giving that example is that Chalpatrao Garu is always very helpful. Whatever the number, sorry, I've met him a number of occasions. Every occasion, it was the same. He's very kind, caring, gentle, soft-spoken. My wife was also in tears when she heard the news Dr. Garu passed away. We are family friends. We miss that gentle giant. It's all about celebration of his life. I'm sure he had no regrets, because as Mr. Jayesh and some others said, he has left an excellent family behind, an excellent, very caring, very supportive wife, and also gem of a son, Raghu, with Vaijayanti, and two excellent grandchildren. I'm pleased that Sai is in UK being trained as a doctor. Raghu, it's all about celebrating your father's and Nanagaru's life, and you can all be very proud of the gentleman. I'm sure he is in heaven and he will always shower his blessings, not just on your family, but like us. Namaste.
Thanks a million, Prasad Garu and Mohini Garu and Padmanabhai Garu. You are not family friends, you are family to us. And one other family member we consider not as close friends, but as family member is Chittaranjan Garu and Chaya Garu, who are our neighbors. And I would like to share with you here, most people will not know, that whenever I used to come back on holiday to India, I used to say that I want to live in Jubilee Hills. And Chittaranjan Garu took this really seriously. And by the time I came back, identified somebody and arranged for a site, not just in Jubilee Hills, but just right next to him. And it is because of him that we are in Jubilee Hills today. Chittaranjan Garu, if you are here, we'd like to hear from you.
Yeah. నమస్కారం అండి. వినపడుతుందా రఘు?
వినిపిస్తుందండి.
ఓకే, క్యారీ ఆన్. This is a tribute to a legend and a role model to all of us. Dr. Pilar Sethi Chalpatrao Garu. I knew him since 1990. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Chalpatrao Garu for the first time in 1990 at a exclusive lunch given by my colleague. Dr. Ragaru's lovable disposition and interaction drew me to become his admirer. And Chaya and myself also became very family friends, and our association grew further after witnessing his remarkable service to the medical field and spending his entire income to poor students and communities. Dr. Rao Garu and Dr. Usha Lakshmi Garu set an example for their selfless service in the in establishing institutions to serve the mankind, and his contributions, their contributions have been mentioned by previous uh, admirers. To follow the role and tradition, Dr. Raghuram and Mrs. Vaijayanti Garu returned from UK to provide specialized medical care in India, and to his services were recognized by the government of India and awarded Padma Shri for his achievements. As people mentioned, Dr. Raghuram and his son, all these people uh, felt that the parents are their role models, and their service to humanity is uh, something like uh, a remarkable mark of their uh, selfless role model achievements. And God bless the family and their noble services. And it is my fortune that I have been knowing the various services which Dr. Chalpatrao Garu was responsible in the entire Andhra Pradesh, and people like doctors, he was a role model. He was an example of selfless service. The entire income was spent in the rural areas of Hyderabad and the communities where the money was needed. And it is something that is more than receiving a Padma Bhushan or Bharat Ratna. He is a great stalwart amongst all the doctors, and uh, I am personally indebted to their association. And Dr. Ushalakshmi Garu, equally uh, a great philanthropist, and he has partnered with Dr. Chalapatirao Garu, which many role model, remarkable, matchless services to human beings. God bless them. Thank you.
Thank you, Chitranjan Garu, Jayesh, Padmanabhai Garu, Prasad Garu, Meeru. You are our family. You are our family. So family is first for us. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I'd now like to request another dear friend, again somebody who has been part of our family for a number of years, Nadendra Manohar, was the former dynamic speaker, the government of undivided Andhra Pradesh. Manohar, are you around? If you are not around, Harish Rao Garu, again somebody who's the minister, honorable minister, finance minister, government of Telangana. It is because of his encouragement that the family has taken a major decision to contribute much of our savings to a village which has really been life transforming in many ways, which has really made local, regional, national headlines, so much so that appreciation has come even from the Prime Minister's office. And this has been made possible solely because of Sri Harish Rao Garu, who has again been a God-sent messenger in our lives. Harish Rao Garu, are you around? If you are not, then I will move on to again a very dear friend who is a giant in his own right, a leading surgical oncologist in this country, who heads one of the largest charitable oncology centers, the Basavatarakam Indo-American Cancer Center. Dr. Subramanian Rao, my dear friend, Subbu, please.
Subbu, unmute.
Beyond all that you have told, my greatest achievement is to be your family member of your extended family. That's how I felt in the presence of the great Chalapatirao Garu. His life has been a life that has been fulfilled because it was a life that was well lived. I've always understood that he has been a great son, a wonderful spouse, a responsible father, father-in-law, and a grandfather, a great doctor, wonderful surgeon, with and a passionate teacher and a great citizen. I think he has fulfilled every role that is defined by any religion for anybody who is born before he actually passed away. He has been a complete man. He will remain a major inspiration for me and a tremendous influence the way I'm going to continue to live from now on. I owe a lot to P.V. Chalapatirao Garu and his family, and I promise that I would be there for them and I would continue to be their family member forever. Thank you, Raghu, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Subbu. Another very dear friend who was there with me all through during these 10 days, not just these 10 days, but all along. If I needed some advice, I would unhesitatingly call Subbu. Similarly, I would unhesitatingly call MBB Prasad, Dr. MBB Prasad, who worked in the UK like me and then came back and he heads the Department of Surgery at KIMS Hospitals, particularly in the last 10 days when father was ill. Major decisions, both Subbu and MBB Prasad were right next to me, providing the much needed guidance to me at a time when I was lost. MBB, please.
Thank you, Raghu. Thank you for asking me to speak today. Greetings to all. And I mean, that is the least we could do, Raghu, to you. being your friend. Now, coming to Professor Chalpati Rao Garu, much has been said, and my over-abiding remembrance of Chalpati Rao Garu is as the medical director of our hospital from 2004 to 2019 until last year. All the 13 years, from the age of 76 to 89, he used to come very punctual to the hospital, and his energy and enthusiasm to work is unparalleled. And one thing I noticed about him is I never saw him angry in all those 13 years. Even when there are many problems and things to be sorted out, and if there are any problems from the DNB office, any such things, 1 or 2 phone calls from him would sort everything out. So he's a towering personality. He's a gentle giant, and his loss is, even though it is a natural passing and every one of us has to go through the same things, it is a huge void for the family. I pray to God that he gives strength to Auntie, Raghu, and the rest of the family to bear this loss and continue their lives. Thank you, Raghu.
Thanks very much, MD, once again for this unstinted support that you have given me and the family. I now like to request a very dear friend of father. He was also the treasurer of ASI when father was the president of ASI. Continues to be a dear friend to the family. His daughter and me are classmates in post-graduation. Dr. Krishna Rao Garu, sir, please. Dr. Krishna Rao Garu is from Chennai, a leading surgical gastroenterologist and the former president of the Association of Surgeons of India. Are you there, sir? Okay. Another leading personality who was a good friend of father, a towering personality in the country who introduced laparoscopic surgery in this country, who did the first laparoscopic cholecystectomy in the country, a Padma Bhushan awardee, a very distinguished and most respected surgeon in the country, Professor Thampton Udwadia. Sir, request you to say a few words. Sir, are you there?
Raghu, I have unmuted myself.
Yeah, yes, please. Please go ahead. I can hear you. Sir, please go ahead, Krishna Rao Garu.
Raghu, first of all, our heartfelt sympathies to you and to your family for the untimely demise of your father, who has been a great friend of mine for over 4 decades. We have been together in the Association of Surgeons of India in various capacities. He has been a very soft-spoken, kind, easily approachable person, but with firm ideas and ideals. He has been a beacon for many of the surgeons in their career. He himself has, by his hard work, earned the distinction for receiving the honorary FRCS from the Royal College of Edinburgh, the oldest surgical society of England. He also received further accolades like the B.C. Roy Award. He has been immortalized by you by installing or producing 2 gold medals, one for the undergraduate student and another for a postgraduate student, the two medical colleges where he has been the professor of surgery, the Gandhi Medical College and the Osmania Medical College. Dr. Chalapati Rao was a guiding principle in many of the decisions that the Association of Surgeons had taken during his tenure of office in the ASI, in the governing council. I will truly miss him as a good friend of mine and a friend of my family. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Professor Udvadia, sir, are you around, sir? Professor Udvadia? If not, we'll come back to you, sir. I'd now like to play a very, again, brief message from yet another dear friend of mine, who is the British Deputy High Commissioner for Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, who really, actually, we struck a chord. I don't call him a diplomat, although he's a diplomat. He's an undiplomatic diplomat. I would refer him to as an undiplomatic diplomat, because I've never seen such a diplomat ever in my 13 years in India. I've seen so many diplomats, and he is one of those rare people who has really struck a chord with me, and we are very dear friends. Andrew, he could not join in today, and so we're just going to play his message.
Raghu and family, I'm really sorry that I'm not able to join you in person for this online event, but I did want to send a message in memory of your much loved and recently departed father, Sri Chalapati Rao. He was clearly a brilliant doctor, and I'm sure many will lament on his many achievements. I met him just a few times in your home myself, so my comment really must be not so much about his professional achievements, but rather his most important achievement of bringing up a son like you, somebody who clearly puts his family first and community first, who has gone and taken the best he can from the opportunities his father has provided to follow in his medical footsteps, and has returned to India to achieve some wonderful things. And I'm sure, having lived to the age of the 90s, your father was immensely proud of your achievements and will have departed the earth a very happy man for that. I again apologize that I'm not with you. I really do feel your loss, your family's loss, your mother's loss, and I hope that I will have a chance to personally meet you when circumstances allow. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Now I'd like to move on. Again, another member of the family. I'd like to request my cousin, Usha, who is in the US at the moment, my first cousin, and she is my mother's brother's daughter. She would like to say a few words. Usha, please go ahead.
Thank you, Raghu. I'm privileged to be able to offer my tributes to Uncle. He had an exemplary life, as you all have already explained. I would like to focus on our experiences with him from our family side. I'm niece of Dr. Usha Lakshmi, as we fondly call her Dr. Atta, and then he's Dr. Uncle for us in the family. As first generation doctors in our family, both Uncle and Atta have taken it upon them to take care of all the needs of the families with a sense of responsibility and compassion. Over the years, all of us gravitated towards them for anything good and bad in our lives. It's Dr. Atta that we always reach out to, and but it's the doctor uncle who is ultimately making it happen for us, like make that phone call or talk to the people or give us an advice of how to do or how to do and I'll share a couple of experiences, personal experiences that will show how much of a profound impact he had on our lives. As a child, uh, I had lodged a beetle nut into my lungs, and it became a very life-threatening situation requiring an emergency surgery. And it was our uncle who is in charge at that time. He took charge of the situation. I needed help from Dr. Rajagopal Garu, cardiothoracic surgeon, who at the time has already taken vacation. I think he was going for Russia. Uncle reached out to him at home and requested for a surgery, help with take care of this. Dr. Garu obliged. He came and did the surgery and left to the airport directly. That's what I was told. And I'm saved and I'm here alive because of that. And my parents and I are forever grateful for that. And over years, they're there for us get through so many hurdles, both medical and other personal needs, with a smile. And the void left by him cannot be filled. We will miss him dearly. And on behalf of my parents and myself, I offer condolences to my Atta and Raghuram, Vaijayanti, and the kids. Thank you. Thanks you for giving me the time to speak.
Thanks very much, Usha. Thanks very much. Your comments and your thoughts mean a lot to us. Means a lot. Thank you so much. A dear friend in the UK who was my trainer, and then he became my dear friend, and we exchange notes regularly, and a lot of times many challenging issues we talk about, and he has been through as a very dear friend, and it's very rare to have a trainer and also a dear friend, in Professor John Robertson, who is a towering personality, who is the professor of surgery in Nottingham. And dear John, please.
Raghu, thank you very much for the invitation just to comment. First of all, I again pass on my condolences to you and your family. I first got to know your father through you telling me about him and then introducing him to me. And I think the first time I met him was in 2004 when I was an invited speaker at the Association of Surgery of India in Hyderabad. And I remember having dinner with him in the evening with you and his wife, your mum. And one of the things that came through to me was that for somebody who'd done so much, he was a very humble man. And many people have spoken about all the things he's done and his awards. And it's clear that in that sense, in a professional sense, there is no doubt that he has had a life well lived. But I just want to focus in a little bit more on one of the other things about being a father, as I am myself, which is that I remember you sending me something about when you were awarded the Padma Award, and there was a quote given, and it's one aspect of being a father, and you said the quote was, "The happiest moment for a father is not just when a son is born. The happiest moment in a father's life is when the community recognizes the son and is praised by a large section of people. That's when a father is really happy." And I think that's one aspect to that. And I'm sure in that sense, he was very happy that day too. But I think the other thing, and you said a few times this evening, family first. And I think when people come to the end of their life, then family is most important to them. And there's a saying that we have, and it's simple, is that a father or parent is only as happy as the most unhappy child. And I think your father being very happy. I've known you for many years, and you live in a family that is very happy with yourself, your parents, with your children. And I think in his last days, yes, he would have been happy having lived a life fulfilled. But I think too, he would have been very happy with what you've achieved. You would have got professional and family, fatherly satisfaction in that. But I think he would also be very happy with the fact that you and your family are family first, and you are very happy in that. And so I think it is with sadness that you've said goodbye to him. But I think there's a lot of comfort in his life well lived, in the achievements that you've had. I think you would have had huge satisfaction and comfort from. And I think also the fact that as a family, he leaves you, but he leaves you in a very happy family, where you are all together and you're all looking after one another. And I think that would have given him enormous comfort too. So I thank you for the opportunity to have met him. I thank you for the opportunity to be your friend. And I thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak here at this sad time, but I think a time where you could take comfort from in his life well lived, but also I'm sure he died comforted by all that you and the family have achieved, the family that you are, the happiness you should as you talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. You touched upon something, in Vemana's Sumati Satakam. I will now speak Telugu, which you will not understand, which you spoke about the happiness for a father. పుత్రోత్సాహము తండ్రికి పుత్రుడు జన్మించినప్పుడు కలుగదు. జనుల పుత్రుని కనుగొని పొగడగా పుత్రోత్సాహము కలుగును. So this is something, Kakarla Subbarao Garu, Dr. Kakarla Subbarao Garu, who is not here because he's not keeping very well. Again, a very dear friend of father for more than 4 decades. This is what he said when he came to address the gathering at Kim's Hospitals when I was awarded the Padma Award. So thank you very much, John. I'd now like to request my teacher, who I greatly value, Professor C.R. Balal, who has been a towering personality, a great teacher who is known nationally, who is being conferred the Lifetime Achievement Award for 2020 by the Association of Surgeons of India. Sir, are you around to say a few words?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Thanks, Raghu, for giving me this opportunity. In fact, right from 1970 onwards, I used to hear a lot about your dad. And I had the opportunity to meet him at the annual conference held in Kathak about 2 decades later. Later on, I came to know that he was one of the topmost surgeons in the whole country. And what added was, there are 2 aspects I would like to emphasize. Number one, I think he is one of the last of the true general surgeons. I'm sure there's no part of the human body which he has not operated. Unlike the present day when the super specialist, he came to a generation where they were operating on practically all parts of the human body, and it's such a good name in Hyderabad. I have some close relatives in Hyderabad, and every time they used to come down to Mangalore or Udupi, the one person they always used to talk about was Dr. Chalpathy. His greatness lied in the fact that he had given adequate time for community service, adequate time for the family, which I think are 2 aspects which every young surgeon has to remember. One gets so much engrossed in one's work that you may forget about the community, you may forget about family. But Dr. Chalpathy is a stunning example that one can be very successful, very busy surgeon, at the same time can dedicate yourself for the community as well for the family. I pray that his Atma is given Sadgati. I offer my heartfelt condolences to you and your mother and other members of the family. I know that whatever age you lose a father, he may be 92 or 98, that loss is a personal loss, irrespective of the age. We have to accept what nature has given us, but Thank you again, Raghu, for giving me this opportunity to speak about, to my mind, one of the colossus of surgery in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Is Professor Udwadia here? Because we tried to invite him a little while ago. Professor Udwadia? Are you here? And Manohar, Nadendra Manohar and Harish Rao Garu? Okay, if you're not there, anybody else before I ask? I wanted to keep this very brief. I wanted to close this within 1 hour and we're just 10 minutes beyond. And we really greatly appreciate your more than 100 messages have come through this program. If there is nobody else who wishes to, speak, then I would like to, I'm sure many people would like to speak, but because of the paucity of time and we want to keep it crisp, this program, I must apologize that everyone have not had an opportunity to express their views. I would like to say here, I'm, a very proactive person. I'm not boasting about it, but when I'm very much, what should I say? I'm falling short for words. That I am very vocal in what I say, but I am a very private family person, and this is something that I have not shared before with many people. Of course, those who are very close to me know about this. When the decision to decide to come back to India or to stay back in UK was the biggest decision for me in my life thus far. During that decision process, if there is one person who stood by me rock solid, it is my wife, Vaijayanti. At that time, I must confess here, Vaijayanti was doing much better than me. She had completed in the year 2005. She was perhaps the only one in the country from India who has completed her higher specialist training in obstetrics and gynecology on a type 1 training program those days, and a subspecialty fellowship at Bart's Hospital in London, and was offered the director's post in a fertility center in Harley Street. And that she left just like a hot potato, just to be with me. And she said, Raghu, if your heart is in India, let's go back. And if Vaijayanti had said or hesitated, then I could not have spent the last 13 years with my parents. It is because of her that I could come back to India and be with my parents and be together and cherish these 13 years with my father. She has given me that opportunity. Vaijayanti, I'd like you to close the meeting with your concluding remarks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for taking time out on a Sunday to be here with us to celebrate the life of my father-in-law, Dr. Chalpati Rao Garu. Many of you here today have very kindly shared with us your memories and experiences from your interaction with him and how that has personally touched your lives. We greatly value and appreciate your contribution in making today's celebration of Mamaya's life very special. We consider ourselves truly blessed to have such a wonderful person in our lives whom we always looked upon to and drew inspiration from. Moving forward, we have cherished memories to remember, especially all your kind tributes and all your shared memories about him today will remain etched in our hearts forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaijayanti. And with folded hands, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you and for coming here, spending your precious time with us. And this will mean a lot to us. This program will be recorded and we will be watching this program again and again. Once again, namaskaram and thank you very, very much indeed.